All right, so I got this Whirlpool duet, or duet, as they like to say in Starsky Hutch. Model number is GEW9250PW1. Now, I got this from a local farmer. I helped him install his new dryer that he got and give me this one. It says that the drum is stuck. It is definitely, there's something stuck in that. I don't know anything about this, but since he gave it to me for free, let's take it apart, see if we can fix this thing. He said it sounded like there was a pair of shoes in there, and then all of a sudden it sounded like it threw a rod and stopped working. So we're gonna go ahead and take apart what we can take apart, see if we can figure out what's going on with this thing. I'm outside because it's broken and it really doesn't matter. But we're gonna start off by removing these 3 screws at the top, and then we'll take a look after that. All right, again, because I really don't care, I do have a small impact on this. So we're gonna be able to knock stuff out quickly. Worst case scenario, I scrap this thing. Best case scenario, we get it working and I'll sell it on Facebook Marketplace for 30 bucks. Now let's try not to break anything. Will this just, yes it does. It just slides right on out. Ooh, I already see an issue. Here, let's pick it up. So all I've done is remove that top. It just slid right out of here. There's nothing connecting it. I can already tell where I need to start looking. So the drum is on each side, but you see this right here. That is where the belt goes. The belt itself is not connected to anything, just sort of laying here. So that tells me that my issue is further down, probably under the drum, because I'm not connected. And it is definitely not easy to move. Oh, now it like freed itself up a little bit. So the issue is underneath. So let's go ahead, let's remove some more stuff. Let's take the back off, see what that reveals to us. All right, so because the back has 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10-ish bolts, nuts, screws, whatever screws, we're gonna time lapse this. So I'm not gonna do anything other than the time lapse. Okay, so as you saw, I simply just sort of moved this out of the way. I did not disconnect the wires. I am going to do that here in a second, but when I moved this out of the way just a little bit, I found a pulley. It looks very worn, very much so. Let's see where this goes. Let's go ahead and disconnect the electrical lines here, and then we'll pull this all the way out, see if we can see further in there without getting too far into it. So let's go ahead and disconnect those. All right, so it appears that we found our issue and where these pulleys came from. So on the back of the motor here, excuse me, we have one completely disintegrated pulley, which I don't even know where it's at. I did clear out some of this lint, but I have no clue where that pulley is. This pulley appears to be the one that was there, and here's the clip that held it in, and you can see it's not very well a clip anymore. That was probably the rod throwing sound, and I mean there's just pieces of stuff everywhere, but I can't find this original pulley, which appears to be sort of, pieces of it are there, but not much. So I don't even, that's gonna be hard to get off. especially when that's connected to the motor. Well, actually, it might just be that pulley. That appears to be ribbed. It is ribbed. Okay, all right. So it appears that we only have one pulley that broke. Ooh, that is loud. So let's see if we can find that pulley, or maybe even just this whole piece here on Amazon, and see if we can get this fixed. It's always a good idea when you do something like this to get a picture of where everything goes, especially if you're not familiar with the machine. So get a good picture of it. See where everything goes. Let's get this all the way out and see if we can see where that pulley came from. Looks like we've got 2 screws on here as well. They really don't want you to take this thing apart. There we go. Of course, who knows how old this thing is? I haven't seen a date yet. There we go. Pull this all the way out the way. And let's see what we're working with. All right, so before we order parts, we're gonna go ahead and take the drum itself out. First, I'm gonna take, since the back is off, we're gonna take everything else holding the drum in the back off. We're gonna start with this vent here. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here, so let's go ahead and get these off. Ho! That's actually pretty cool. And we got 2 more screws on each side here. So let's get these out. All right, now that those are out, this should sort of lift up so that we can get everything out. May need to pop that off of there. Got a zip tie to worry about. Or I could just do that. That was not my original intention, but you know, it did let go. Okay, so there's that. There's that. It appears the drum is now free, but the wiring is continue to be stuck. There we go. All right. Go ahead and unplug those 2 there too. And then just lift the drum up. Up and out. Hey, look at that. Let's see what's in there. All right, so now that the whole thing is sort of open, let's check for damage. It really doesn't look like anything's bad, but I am gonna take a look at these, I'm gonna call them bearings, these wheels here. The drum itself appears to be fine. It rolls good. There's really no need to take further look at it. There is lint honestly everywhere. This thing needs to be sort of blowed out with a compressor or something. There is lint everywhere. Here's that broken pulley that I really think is the biggest of the issues. I thought that this was also broken. This appears to be how it is. I thought that this is really the pulley. I thought this was. But it appears to be okay. These guys here probably need good and cleaned up. But they look to be in good. Sounds a little bit stuck. They appear to be in good shape. That's just going to need to be cleaned up, probably taken off and cleaned up. So we will worry about that here in a second. Figure out how to get it off of there. And we got 2 more pulleys here on this side. This one is definitely good, and this one's good. So it really seems to be that one pulley to be the biggest of the issues. So let's go ahead and figure out how to get it off of there and clean that pulley out that's stuck. That one, let's clean that out and go from there. All right, so we're gonna clean up this pulley that appears to be the stuck one. As you can see, I've already cleaned this one up. It's rolling good. Got a pair of scissors on my knife here, and we're just gonna start cutting away to sort of see what we can get at. And once we get all the way down to it, there's like a little triangle clip in here. I'm trying not to actually get the clip. There it is, if you can see it. Right there is that clip. So let's try to get that off of there and then finish getting that hair out. And maybe this will rotate. Hopefully that pulley's not bad. All right, so the end of my knife, I got a little tiny flat head. I'm just gonna sort of stick it in here, pry up a little bit, and this triangle piece, triangle clip, will come right out. Of course, this one's probably caked in with hair, so that's gonna, and hopefully I don't break it. It's gonna take some doing. There it is. And there's that clip. So now let's worry about getting all this out of here so that we can get the pulley off and clean it better. All right, so as you can see, I cleaned it up and got the pulley off of there, or the bearing, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't call it a bearing, it's just too big. Slide it back on here. And it seems like we can continue to use it. All right, but we're gonna go ahead and put it back on there. And if it doesn't rotate easily with the drum on it, then we'll replace it as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean out these 2 pulleys as well. I'm not going to show that on camera because it's the same process. And then we'll get a new pulley for this down here. It seems to be all that really needs replaced. Now, that joker came apart. So do that, and definitely before I put everything back together, hit this with an air compressor and blow a lot of this out, because there's a lot. I mean, a lot in here. All right, so pick it back up whenever I get a new pulley here. I guess it's been about 2 days and our new washer or new pulley is here. Let's go ahead and blow this thing out. Got a leaf blower here. Let's go ahead and give it some beans and try to get a lot of this lint out of this thing. All right, so you can really see a big difference in the opening of the new versus the old pulley. Once the old pulley is on here, it's really not a good fit. That is definitely what wore out. I mean, you can see that almost looks like a square right there. This pulley is a very tight fit. If I can get it on there one-handed. This is going to require 2 hands. This one is a tight fit. All right, so hopefully you'll be able to see this and not the top of my bald spot. But you know, either way it's fine. There we go. Now it's on there, and that is not wobbling at all. Of course, we go ahead and put our little triangle lock on here. It just sort of fits like so. Ta-da! Now the lock is on there. Our new pulley's there. This pulley is good. All the stuff's out of here. It looks like everything's connected. I'm going to just sort of double check all my connections while I'm here, because right now would be the best time to inspect anything that looks broken now that all the lint's out, but everything looks right. So let's go ahead and start putting this back together. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put our drum back in. Now I know which side is which because this drum has like this orange pad thing right here that someone has installed, and I know that was up front. If you don't have a way to mark it, you should probably mark it beforehand. Whereas I had that orange. There we go. That orange pad. Line it up with the pulleys and then drop it on everything. That's the way you do it. Okay. Get our belt in there as well. It's not going to quite sit right because the other side's not up yet. So let's go ahead and get the other side on there. All right, so we're going to put the other side back on. Remember the little pulleys here? They go towards the front. Get it lined up and then sort of fandangle this thing in there. Try not to say too many bad words because your kids are probably listening. Whew. And I knocked it off the front when I did it. Oh, that's the way to go. And then go there. Watch those little clips there. I'll take a picture of them. There's tiny little clips that are going to catch you. There you go. Watch those little guys. There's that. Slide that in and down, and then do the same over here. There's that. Ta-da! Now that our drum is secure, we're going to do the belt. So because this is an older dryer, you can actually see where the belt was. So it's not really hard to line it up. And I didn't actually see the belt beforehand. So just going off of telltale signs. Now down here, now that we're under here, let's go ahead and connect the belt to our motor. Now, I'm assuming that we have to get our pulley here to work. This is a kill switch right here. I know that they said that the dryer just quit, it wouldn't work. That's a kill switch right there. So let's go ahead, let me map out how this goes, because to be quite honest, I'm not exactly sure. I've never worked on one of these before, but this is the belt that came off of it. So let me figure that out real quick. Shouldn't take but a second, and then we'll pick it right back up. So this is how our belt goes. You see it goes down around the motor and then up to the pulley. This is our kill switch here. This is what was keeping the dryer from moving. So in order to do this, I'm gonna try to do it one-handed if I can. All right, so it sits like this. So your best bet, the best way to do this, pull your pulley up and get it around this belt here. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. Ooh, that doesn't look good, but we're gonna go for it anyways. All right, so go ahead and get it up, pull it all the way up and on, and there you go. That doesn't look good, but we're gonna pretend we didn't actually see that. And there's your kill switch, probably for safety, to sort of keep the heating element from burning everything down if there's no air flowing through. Not upset at that. All right, let's go ahead and put the rest of this back on. All right, go ahead and plug in the back of the machine here. There's that one and that one. These only go one way, so there's not a, that's a light. All right, I was wondering what that was. All right, so we got that on. We're gonna go ahead and get this on here. All right, so this fits funny. As you can see, it's got like a little clip here. So what you gotta do is slide down onto that, sort of like that there. Slide down on it and then lift up. So that's a two-handed job. I'm gonna do my best to show you. All right, so let's go ahead and get this back together. Slide it down and on. There There it is. There it is. Yeah. All right, now we need to line our stuff up. Okay. Make sure that's all my screws. Appears to be right. Yeah, that's not a screw. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. It's only 3. Wow. Okay, now that we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and get this guy up here. Once I remember how he sits. He sits like that. Looks like I got a little bit ahead of myself on one of my bolts. No biggie. All right, so since I got a little bit ahead of myself, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together like so, and like so. All right, so now we're gonna put our back on. Be sure we get all of our pieces and parts sort of lined up how we want them. And you want all your wires to not be pinched. Everything's gonna sort of go through this hole here. Let's try to not to pinch anything. Now the good thing about this is, I gotta line up the bottom. The good thing about this is, you really don't have to sort of go in between anything. You just sort of gotta line it up, which is presenting its own case of issues. There's that side, and that side. Hey! Oh. Now, hey! Line that up. Let's go ahead and put some screws in this thing. To be fair, I have no clue how many screws go in this thing. In the back of this thing. I does not remember. I think it's like 20. Okay, it appears I've put them all in the back, so now let's worry about the wiring. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get this box back up in here. That doesn't wanna go. For whatever reason, these were screws. I remember this. So these two are screws. So let's get our screws back on here, and then we'll worry about everything else. Okay, so if you remember I said take a picture of how this looks to begin with. Well, let's be quite honest with ourselves. I don't remember how this went, so I'm definitely gonna take a look at the picture, which I did take before we do this, just to sort of see what goes where. And it is black on the far outside. All right, let's get this little panel that goes here on. All right, so as you can see, I hope that's turning up. The panel is sort of like a puzzle almost. And you sort of slide it down. Like so. Then you put your screw in. Be sure you don't pinch any of these wires. seems right. Hey, you know what? All we got left now is the lid. Let's do that. All right, so in order to do this lid, you just sort of slide it in here. It's got little tracks on it that line up. Get it lined up and then smash down. And it's in there. Now just put your 3 screws in there. All right, let's get our 3 screws in. And we're done with that. I know I'm outside and I don't have a 220 drop cord and the belt does need change, but let's see if it rotates over, because at the end of the day, all I'm gonna do with this thing is flip it. I got it for free. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it. Oh, it definitely feels like there's something pulling against it, like the motor, but it is rotating. Oh, you can actually hear the motor. Wow, 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 wow. So, looks like we fixed it. Ta-da! All better.